Welcome to another day of How to ABL. Today is 10/8/2023 and it is shock season. Today is Universal Female Day, so we'll be using Jean Grey with a Brilliant Rage. She's basically a spam character. You want to slightly delay 5, 3, and 1 if you can. Doesn't matter, pretty much spam everything as quickly as possible, including her tier 3 ability. Some people like to draw that out till the wings pop. You do not need to use that. With Dark Phoenix, you can pretty much instantly cancel that. I have tried both ways, and I tend to score more by instantly canceling. Letting it play out till the wings pop doesn't kill your score, but I tend to see it score less, and most of the people that I talk to also score more by instantly canceling. Definitely try both, see what works best for you. There's different ways to play different characters. So without further ado, let me go ahead and show you this in action, and if you want to stick around later, I'll tell you about the team I'm using, why I'm using it, and alternate options for today. So, right away, we're going to switch to Jean, run up, and I'm going to do a 4, 2, 1, 5 for a second, 3 for a second, 7. Not a full second, kind of like a fraction of a second, 2, 1. Keep in mind that 2 will make you launch her away, and she'll, like, run after enemies. So I like to try to cancel that 2 into a 1 or something, so she doesn't run around. But aside from that, you're going to pretty much spam everything right away. Notice I'm not saving the 7. Because she's a spam character, she can recharge that 7 quick. So you don't need to hold that, even though we need it for cancel today. Watch this. Boom. Now it's ready. And as soon as he is targetable, if you're using Thor as the striker, you can pretty much use it right away. You don't need to wait for him to lift the sword or anything like that. So it is really a spam day for sure. Spam like crazy. Make sure you get your purple orbs as they drop. And as you can see here, I'm not really waiting on much of anything. Alright, grab that really quick. Got to get those orbs. And I'm using all the skills as soon as they're on cooldown. The quicker you can spam it, the quicker you can do the big moves like 7 and 6. And you want to do those as much as possible. That's where a lot of the damage is coming from. Alright, here's that last orb. Some people like to save that last 6 there for when you get the 4th orb. I feel like you're going to get more damage off by attacking more often, and you're still going to get some 6s inside of that Odin's Force. So it's up to you how you want to experiment with it. As you can see here, I'm not able to get a second 6 in, but even if I save that 6, I don't get a second 6 anyway. So for me and for my purposes, in my opinion, I think you should just go ahead and go for it. I am going to use the 2 now to pick up and run away to pick up that orb. Just got to play it by ear. But you'll see she zips around, and she does try to attack minions. So if there are minions there, if you can't stay close to him and do instant cancels, it is going to affect your score. Alright, again, I'm not saving my 7. Not with her. Ooh, see, not being able to cancel does hurt. Alright. Cancel skills, not cancel his roar. You're going to cancel that roar anyway. But see, I fly away with that too, and that does hurt your ability to do damage. So this is probably going to affect my score. Alright, let's get that orb up here. Boom. Alright, we got one more orb. And then we're on that last Odin Force. So we'll see how high we can get this score. Jean does a fantastic job. For whatever reason, Elemental in general does a great job today. You can use Rage with this or Judgment with this spam type of play. And both of them are just fantastic. Cool, the last orb dropped on top of us. Alright. Let's bring it on home. Should hit 9 million, but I think I'm actually going to fall short. I wonder if a couple of my little chasing of the orbs brought it down a little bit. I usually get closer to 9, but I mean, 8.8 million is not a terrible score for today. Definitely not as good as some people. I don't have that much Pierce. The more Pierce you have, it actually helps your score. So 8,837,079. Okay, let's talk about my cards and swords really quick. I'm not going to talk about them in detail. I'm going to show them for a few seconds. If you want to pause it, you can read them. Some people like to know how accounts are built to kind of compare it to theirs to see why I'm scoring what I'm scoring versus what you score. You might score more, you might score less. There's the cards. Here's the X swords. All of that is going to affect all your game modes, so it's important to build those well. Let's go ahead and show Jean Grey's build really quick, and then we'll talk about team up and alternate options for today. So here's the overall details. Not doing too bad. Here is the Gurus and Odin's Blessings. I got a couple Odin's Blessings. Everything's amplified. I am using, as I'd mentioned, Thor for the striker. He tends to do best for ABL. In this case, he's actually being used to cancel. But In general, I try to use him for all my ABL days. I have him tier 4 with a rage, so he tends to do really good. Elemental damage as a whole just seems to do great in ABL. And even though you can use a judgment, it seems like rage does better, surprisingly, in ABL. So I would definitely rage up your characters if you have the option. ISO 8 sets, overdrive, everything's maxed out. I've got an order instinct match artifact here, +7. I've got a brilliant rage on her, which has enraged, which is the best option, better than the all attack in my opinion. She does have a mythic Dark Phoenix uniform, so that's the one you want to run for today if you are running her. Let's go ahead and talk about the team I'm using and then alternate team-up options and different characters you can use in case you do not have a Tier 4 Jean Grey. So Alliance Battle, Legendary. So I'm using Satana's Leadership because of the plus 70% fire damage. That just does great, and I really feel like that's the best lead for today. I'm using Morgan Le Fay. She has Fallen Soul uniform. If you don't have Fallen Soul uniform, you're not going to get the bonus under uniform effects. So Universal Allies, which would be Jean, gets 35% all attack and basic damage dealt to boss types by 35. So those two right there. She also gets the remove debuffs, which I don't think helps in PvE at all. It's more of a PvP thing. But this up here with the Fallen Souls uniform, which is not present, of course, without a uniform, is giving an additional buff. So with the Fallen Souls uniform, she is worthy of an insight, so she is carrying my insight for me. Satana does not have anything but a uniform. I don't think there's any passives on this. Like if you remove her uniform, she still has an okay leadership, but none of these passives are going to be doing anything. So it's literally just that 7% extra fire damage from the uniform. Without the uniform, just, you know what, let's just show it really quick just to show you. So if I equip no uniform at all, just in case you don't have it, and I go over here to skills and I go over here to leadership, it is going to be 60%. So it is 10% less, but she still has a leadership option. You just get an extra 10% from the Marvel Legacy uniform, which since I have it, might as well use it, right? Then there is other options that you can consider for today as a whole. I would consider, if I did not have a Jean Grey, I probably think the next best person would probably be Scarlet Witch Tier 3 with the Marvel Studios Doctor Strange uniform and with a Rage. She can also use a Judgment, and she's also a very spammy character, but Jean just destroys her at Tier 4, so it's not even worth considering using her if you have a Tier 4 Jean. So Scarlet Witch would probably be the second best. I would say Thena is probably the third best. Other lead options that you can consider for today, anything with like energy, like you could use Hela's 60% increase energy attack. You could use Scarlet Witch's leadership for the 45. You could use Thena's for the 50. So you do have different leadership options in there, but all around I consider the best lead for her to be Satana, and it seems like most people agree with that. Other support options if you do not have the uniform here. If you have Dark Obsidian armor for Proxima Midnight, she actually has, I think it's her uniform effect. I don't think it's her passive. Yeah, it's her uniform effect. So if you get a uniform again, a lot of people forget to check this stuff. Super villain allies. Remember, Dark Phoenix is considered a villain. This would apply for her. She does 35% damage and 40% damage dealt to super villains and superheroes. Obviously, the Fallen Souls Morgana one has that all attack as well, so it's a better option. But you could use her as a support character, and she is a swappable cancel character too if you needed to use her for that. There is also Angela. Angela needs her Asgardian armor here, and with the Asgardian Assassin, again, a uniform effect, she will give superhero allies 40% damage dealt. So if you are using Scarlet Witch, she is an option to consider as far as support, but she won't work for Jean because Jean is a villain with Dark Phoenix, and you do want Dark Phoenix. You could use her Marvel Girl uniform, which does okay, but it is much, much, much better, much higher score if you use the Dark Phoenix uniform. Also, the playstyle is different. There's an actual rotation for her Marvel uniform over here. So if you do Marvel Girl, she has a much different rotation, and it's an actual rotation versus just spam from Dark Phoenix. Let's see. So that's another option too if you don't have the Dark Phoenix uniform. Phyla-Vell is an optional support. She's not that good. She's going to give all basic attacks 30% and 25% increase for skill, and then 15% bonus damage. It's just basic versus damage dealt. So you could use her if you have no other options, but she's really not that great. Supergiant is worth a shout out. She is a so-so character, so Jane, Scarlet Witch, or Supergiant, but Supergiant is probably the third best for today as an option. So those are the only people I would consider using for today. This is the team I built and why I built it. As always, thank you for watching, and may your ABL scores be as high as possible. I'll catch you in the next one.